Hello there, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by. This is a reading for Karen that I'm getting ready to do. Right now, I'm just clearing the cards for that. If anybody else would like to have an internet reading for the low price of $6, you can look on my website and find out how to do that. I just answer one question here on the internet for you. We can change names to protect your privacy if you would like. Let's see. I also offer more private readings, one question or two question, where I do send you a recording of what I find when I look at your questions. And then I have private live readings as well. Those come in 30, 45, or 60-minute increments, depending how much time you feel like you need. If you don't know exactly how much time you feel like you need, I would say pay for the 30 minutes, and then if we go over, as long as I have time, we can always go over. Other things that I offer are Reiki sessions and Reiki packages. And those I can do long distance or in person as well. And I offer addiction relief services for those of you who want to kick a nasty habit. This is not meant to be the sole means of the way that you do it, but this is meant to give you a leg up and help you really be successful in kicking that old habit. Now, for people who are local only, I do psychic parties. I have two versions of those where I can come and read for you and your guests, or I can come and facilitate as you and your guests explore your own psychic abilities. And then the other thing that I do is also in the local area, which, by the way, the local area is Golden, Colorado, or within a reasonable 2-hour drive. The other thing that I do is I clear homes. So if you're looking to sell a home and it's staying on the market a little too long, get a hold of me. I can help you with that. Or if you're looking to clear a home because you just have some negative energy floating around and they're giving you trouble, get a hold of me. I can help you with that as well. Okay, and those last two are just for the local area. Everything else, the Reiki and the readings and the addiction relief services, can be done long distance just as easily as locally. So let's get on to the reading for Karen. Karen writes, since the last time we read, he was, because I did a reading for her before about the same person. Since the last time we read, he was looking for us to hook up, which I was very tempted to do, but decided that it wasn't the best idea to go through with, as he is still with someone. And I told him I refuse to be a side piece and wish him good luck and nothing but happiness with his new family, etc., which resulted in me getting blocked. I don't understand this, as I was being genuine, and he had almost opened up again a few times. Him and the other girl are constantly on and off, and I can feel that he is not happy in this situation. As you are aware, I believe that he is my twin flame, and I do not feel that this is the end of the road for him and I, despite sometimes just thinking I am done with him. Whoops, let me scroll for the rest of our background stuff here before we get to the question. Why isn't the mail letting me do that? Okay. Okay, so sometimes she's thinking she's done with him. But him and her, him being James, by the way, James and the other girl have split up again, and I heard it's gotten pretty messy between him and her. I got a massive bolt of a headache the other day, and my intuition instantly told me something was kicking off with them, and they were fighting. Yes, I found out I was correct, and things were very messy with them. I was hoping... Why is my mail changing things up on me? I was hoping if you could see what's coming up for him and I next. I keep sensing his energy, but I am just confused as to why I even get blocked this time, let alone if we even still have a chance. My heart tells me we do, and my head tells me to slam the door tight. Tight, baby. As you know, these types of connections... Oh, man, I'm gonna be adjusting my mail every few minutes, apparently. As you know, these types of connections are tough, but ever so amazing also. I've opened up massively in the past year, and he keeps showing up in my dreams, etc. For that, I can only thank him from my heart. As to opening, my ability is tenfold. Sorry for the long email, but thought I'd fill you in. Okay, so it is nice to have the updates. I don't actually remember what I read was coming up last time, unfortunately, but I'm assuming I must have hit it pretty close to on the head, otherwise she wouldn't be asking me again. So anyway, let's look at this question. Karen wants to know what's coming up for herself and James next. When she wrote me this yesterday, she was blocked. So let's find out. Karen and James coming up next. What should Karen be expecting? Well, I must say you certainly have some interesting cards popping out here, my dear. Let's start at the start. Start at the start. There's a lot of up and downs. Let's just start with that. There's a lot of up and downs that I see here, which, you know, if you guys really are twin flames, then this can be pretty typical for that type of relationship. Well, we actually start off, I'm going to read you the cards just in case you're into cards yourself. But what I've got laying on the table here are the Ace of Cups in reverse, Four of Wands right side up, Five of Pentacles right side up, the Hierophant, which is another 5, right side up, and Temperance, which is actually, oh, I was going to say 15, but that's not true. It's a 14. And that's right side up. Okay? So, with the Eight of Cups in reverse, this is telling me that, you know, this is not being too happy with each other, feeling like somebody has shown their true colors and your opinion of them has kind of gone down a notch, or their opinion of you has kind of gone down a notch. To me, what I'm sensing, you know, and you've given me so much context here to work with that this really makes my job a lot easier as far as how to put things in context and make this more specific than general. What I'm sensing about the true colors and the being knocked down a notch. I think that Mr. James just thought that, you know, your guys' connection was tight enough that you wouldn't care if it was a side situation or not. And that, you know, because the connection was that tight, you would just be there for him anyway. And so he was really, I think that really disappointed him and surprised him. Just, it was like, he got a good dose of the real you know, the you who has some integrity. And I think that that really surprised him. And when I say his opinion of you went down a few notches, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much what this card, the way I would normally interpret it. But I don't know that necessarily his opinion went down a few notches. Obviously, there's a respect factor that comes in whenever something like this happens and you have this type of interaction with somebody. But I feel like because he needed that from you, he needed that adoration or whatever it was that he gets from you, and you were like, hey, sorry, you know, you have another source, go over there, talk to that girl. What are you doing talking to me? He was kind of like, maybe she doesn't love me after all. She's definitely not being there for me. That type of reaction. And, you know, I got to tell you, this type of reaction, the more I'm feeling into it, the more this feels like you could be dealing with a narcissistic person here, somebody who needs people's full attention when he's around them, or she. There are female narcissists as well. And so if you have somebody that's not giving you their full attention, then they kind of lose their usefulness as far as bolstering them up emotionally. So as far as why you got blocked, this is really redressing, you know, why you got blocked. You know, you were not being that emotional support that he feels like he needs. I don't know how much you know about narcissistic people, but they really don't like themselves is the root of their issue. And because they don't like themselves, they need other people to like them. And so when other people show that they like them and adore them, and I mean they need it to like excessive amounts. They need it from, you know, multiple people, and they need it from extreme amounts from those multiple people. So when you're not just at his beck and call, you know, that is something that can be offensive to a narcissistic person. They would take offense at that, even though most of us would just see that as an act of integrity. They would see that as an insult or a letdown. Okay, so I'm not saying that, how he's looking at things is right or correct or bad or wrong or good or whatever. I'm just reading the energy here, and this is how the energy is coming across to me. Like, this was very disappointing to him that you would not be, as you say, a side piece. Okay, so I think that's where the whole blocking you came in. All right, so interestingly enough, the very next card that we have coming up is the Four of Wands. Four of Wands, to me, talks about homecoming. In a relationship spread, it talks specifically about a separation between two people. And when the Four of Wands comes in reverse, it's a temporary separation. It's something that will be ending soon, whether the two people realize it at the time of the initial separation or not. So when we've got the Four of Wands coming in upright, this is telling me this is the end of that separation time. There will be communication that comes in from him. What I'm hearing is you need to be quiet. That's what the spirits around me are saying. It's your job to be quiet. He will be communicating with you when he is ready, when he's done licking his wounds, and when he's ready to talk to you again. That's when he'll be coming back around and communicating. Okay? Next, what we have coming up is... And I just want to give you some kind of time frame on that, actually, for the Four of Wands. I would say within 2 weeks, or possibly even less, possibly even a lot less. But 2 weeks, I'm going to say at the longest, just to be sort of on the safe side there, so that you don't start getting impatient and start stamping your foot. Where is he? Where is he? Because that does mess up the energy a little bit. So the point here is for you to just kind of kick up your feet, relax, let him do his thing. Once he's done licking his wounds, he'll be back around. Okay, so next card we have coming up, Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles does talk about, that there is disappointment here. So I feel like this has to do with when he does start communicating with you. This is not exactly the communication that you want to hear. And I think that this may go back to our original card, that Ace of Cups in reverse, where in a healthy two-way relationship, when somebody says, you've got somebody else, I don't think it's appropriate for us to be together right now. In a healthy two-way relationship, the other person says, I'm sorry to hear that, but I respect how you feel. This Five of Cups coming up here, Five of Pentacles coming up here, to me talks about that when you hear from him, instead of him being respectful about the boundary that you set, I think that you're going to hear about how if you really loved him, you should have been there for him no matter what, blah, blah, blah. But I do think even with that communication, even with catching all of that flack from him, you're going to be feeling a little bit relieved to be in communication with him. But I do feel like that kind of communication is going to sort of stress you out. That's not exactly a sane way to handle this situation. Not that I'm saying he's insane, but narcissists, they have a different way of looking at things than what the rest of us do. And so a lot of times it can seem like we're really dealing with somebody who is kind of lost the plot, as one of my friends likes to say over in the UK. All right, let's look at our next card. So our next card was the Hierophant, as I told you earlier. Now the Hierophant, to me, talks about either getting married or speaking of getting married. To me, the Hierophant will come in even just when that conversation comes into play. For you guys, this may not be about getting married. This may be about moving in together, but it has to do with amping up the commitment of the relationship. So it's interesting, the communication is kind of off to a bad start, but the next thing we're looking at is, okay, let's take this from I'm pissed at you because you didn't want to be my side piece to, you know what, wouldn't it be great if we got married? Now, I'm not sure how you're going to react to that. We could always look at that. But I know how I would react to that. Like, excuse me, do you have a fever? What's going on here? But I do see talk of marriage coming up in the future, so that's one thing that you should expect from him. And the next thing that we have coming up is temperance. Temperance. So to me, you know, temperance has a lot to do with balance. It has to do with patience. It has to do with moderation. To me, the fact that it came up right after the Hierophant is telling me that you're not exactly jumping up and down and bouncing around for joy just because he's talking about getting married. You have a pretty level-headed way of looking at this and realizing, or whatever the commitment level is that he's talking about, whether it's moving in together or whatever. You have a pretty level-headed way of looking at this, and you're realizing that, you know, this guy's kind of on the seesaw, and you want to wait until things stabilize a little bit and then make your decision. That's what I have coming up here. So that's what we have coming up for the next little bit. I'm going to say probably about the next month, month and a half is what we're looking at here. And wishing you all kinds of luck, my dear. Thank you so much.